enter into the first cabin, the first copy we have there is written in Rehan script, and this script in which this copy we have found sometime in 1957 is very rare copy, as the copies of Holy Quran in Rehan script are very little we have found in the libraries and the museums of the world. And the second copy, which was transcribed by the renowned calligrapher of Islam and who is regarded as the third greatest calligrapher of Islam, was Yaqut Mustasmi, and this copy was also purchased by the National of Pakistan sometime in 1950s. And the third copy is again by Yaqut, but he is Yaqut al-Musali. He is also contemporary to Yaqut Mustasmi, that is 13th century AD. And this copy is in marvelous condition and very intact copy. And the binding of these copies is also very beautiful and from the same era. And the binding of this manuscript contains verses from the Holy Quran in Sulus script. كما سرى البدر في تاج من الظلم سريت من حرم ليلا إلى حرم كما سرى البدر. And the copy which is more valuable, perhaps more than these two copies which I had just mentioned, is transcribed by Ahmad ibn Suhrawardi. He was the disciple of Shahabuddin Suhrawardi and he was the pupil of Yaqut al-Mustasmi. Thus, this copy is very rare, but what makes it more important is that this calligrapher Ahmad ibn Suhrawardi, he transcribed about 16 copies in his life. Unfortunately, 14 copies were lost in history. We don't know the whereabouts of these copies, but 2 copies are still existing. One copy is right away here displayed in the National Museum of Pakistan, and the other copy is Hagia Sophia Museum in Istanbul. So, in this way, this is a very rare copy which is transcribed by Ahmad ibn Suhrawardi, and it is also in a very good condition and well preserved. When we did not have a paper conservation laboratory in our museum, this copy was especially sent to Germany for conservation, and it was the conservation made, and it took almost 1 year, although it had a very little damages on it, but it took 1 year, and the government of Pakistan had spent more than 100,000 rupees in the early years of 80s. After that, when we have another copy, although it is very beautiful and very intact naskh, but the pages are somehow, there are some loose pagination, but it was again transcribed by Nizamuddin of the 7th century Hijri calligraphy. And the text in this particular manuscript, the text area is gold sprinkled, and the signs which are given and the diacritical marks which are given in this copy of the Quran are very beautiful, very artistically. All these signs are implied on this copy. Ahead, we find another very beautiful copy which was transcribed sometime in 16th century AD in Iran, and the calligrapher is Sadiq Astarabadi, but the text and the calligraphy is very beautiful, and the page is again, the text area is again gold sprinkled, and the law, which we call it law in Arabic, and frontispiece, which we call it in English, is marvelous. It's one of the most beautiful frontispiece of all the copies we have here in this National Museum of Pakistan, and this is also a very beautiful copy, 400 years old copy. كما سرى البدر في تاج من الظلم وبت ترقى إلى أن نلت منزلا. In other copies, I would like to mention we have one very large and very beautiful and the rarest copy of Holy Quran translated. And this is the only script in which Quran was transcribed, and the only script which was invented in the subcontinent. Otherwise, the other scripts, either these scripts were invented in Arabia, in Central Asia, in Iran, and some other parts of the Islamic world. And the copy which I'm mentioning here is the only one copy in the world, because of its size and because of its transcription. This special copy was transcribed in Jaunpur of India, the Indian Gujarat capital of that time, and the dynasty was ruling there is called Sharki dynasty, and one of the king of the Sharki dynasty was Muzaffar Shah, who especially commissioned the calligraphers and the illuminators to transcribe and illuminate this copy. And this copy contains more than 600 folios, that is 1200 pages. In the beginning, we have many pages illuminated, and thus we have in the ending many pages are illuminated, and all the 30 para, the decoration on these 30 paras differs from each other, and this is also a very unique characteristic which we found on this Holy Quran. And the other signs which we call it Shamsa, or we call it the stamp pages, or other signs like Solos, Nesf, and Robo, these signs are applied in such a beautiful way that it makes it very unique from other copies, and these signs are more than thousands in this Holy Quran. And the transcription, the date of transcription is 1447 AD, that is equivalent to Islamic date is 851 of Hijrah. It means this is 600 years old, this copy. And the colors which are employed here is very, very beautiful, very unique, and the text of the Quran is transcribed in gold and in bold letters. This is also another unique feature of this Holy Quran, that the whole text on these 1200 pages is transcribed in gold, in pure gold. There are other copies like one of the copy in 3 volume which is transcribed in Nastaliq script. And Nastaliq script is usually used for the books other than Quran, especially in Iran and in subcontinent. But this copy of Holy Quran is transcribed in 3 volume in Nastaliq script, and it was transcribed 400 years before, that is in 6th century AD and 10th century of Hijrah. And although the text is transcribed with the black ink, but the pages both inside the text and outside the text on the margin and jadwal, this is profusely spread with the gold, and all the pages you will find are like that. And this is again, it makes it very unique that the copy is transcribed and prepared so specially. And the heading of surahs and the heading of the paras are given in very beautiful illuminated medallions. And again, in this Quran also we find all those semi-precious stone colors and precious stone colors which are employed here. And this is again a very unique copy, because the copies of Holy Quran in Nastaliq scripts are very rare and very few in the world, in the libraries and museums of the world. Then we have another very unique copy which is transcribed by Tajalli Ali Shah. Tajalli Ali Shah was a great poet of Hyderabad, Deccan in India. He was also a finance minister in Hyderabad, Deccan state. And it is also said that he was a very good calligrapher as well. But fortunately, we are lucky to have a copy of Holy Quran transcribed by Tajalli Ali Shah, and which is again very beautiful, and the pages are very beautiful. And perhaps this is the only copy of Holy Quran transcribed by Tajalli Ali Shah.
ولم تهني أوذيت في الله لم تهزم ولم تهني حتى غادت أمة الإسلام في.
There is yet another a very beautiful copy of Holy Quran which was transcribed by a very famous scholar, Mullah Ali Qari. He has written many books which are still taught in the madrasas of the world, but he was a very good calligrapher as well. And copy in Hamali size was transcribed by him, which we have here in the display, and you will see it that how beautiful he was in calligraphy.
سريت من حرم ليلا إلى حرم.
Then, as for the illumination decoration concerned, we have very beautiful copies from Iran, from Kashmir, from Turkey, and from Central Asia. And some of the copies are transcribed we have from Afghanistan as well. The copies which are transcribed in Kashmir and illuminated in Kashmir are more beautiful than other copies in the gallery which we have here in display. The copies which are transcribed in Kashmir, not only the calligraphy is beautiful, but the illumination, the binding, and other material is marvelously very good. Very few people know that Kashmir was equally good in calligraphy, in illuminating, decorating the manuscripts, copies of Holy Quran and manuscript other than the Holy Quran. And it can be compared with all those copies which were transcribed in Central Asia, in Afghanistan, and especially in Iran. So copies displayed here are very beautiful from Kashmir. have some other copies from Iran also, which are very beautifully illuminated. And one copy is very beautiful in Hamali size, which is displayed here, is transcribed and illuminated in Herat, which once was a center of all fine arts activity. This is also a very beautiful copy which was transcribed in Herat. And then we have a few copies which are transcribed in Turkey, and those are also very rare copies. And copies of Holy Quran transcribed and the translation in Persian, we do have some beautiful copies along with the translation, mostly in Persian, are also displayed here for the people. And sometimes we have on the copies of the Holy Quran some commentary and some marginal notes which are also very useful. And these marginal notes and some of the commentaries are probably not yet published and only are found here in the manuscript form. And you will be surprised to know that some of the copies which we have, written by Usman Afandi and Sadiq Astarkhabadi, Ahmad ibn Sorwardi, and Nizamuddin, all these copies transcribed by these renowned calligrapher, and mostly these copies of these scribes are not found in any other museums and libraries of the world. So we may say that within a short period of time, National Museum was able to collect all these rare copies of Holy Quran and copies of the Tafasir, which some of them are displayed here. And this is one of the gallery on which Government of Sindh is paying much attention than other galleries because of the sanctity of the copies of the Holy Quran, and the Government of Sindh pay very much and keen interest just because to maintain the gallery. And for this purpose government had issued a huge amount and intend to make another copies of the Holy Quran and also to display many some copies of the Tafasir, of the translation of the Holy Quran, and it is likely to be established sometime this year in 2012.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم أوذيت في الله لم تهزم ولم تهني أوذيت في الله لم تهزم ولم تهني حتى غادت أمة الإسلام في النجوم مولاي صل وسلم المرسلين يا حبيب الله رسول الله إمام المرسلين سريت من حرم ليلا إلى حرم كما سرى البدر في تاج من الظلم سريت من حرم ليلا إلى حرم كما سرى البدر في تاج من الظلم وبت ترقى إلى أن نلت منزلة من قاب قوسين لم تدرك ولم ترامي مولاي صل وسلم
जश्न आमद रसूल अल्लाह ही अल्लाह जश्न आमद रसूल अल्लाह ही अल्लाह जश्न आमद रसूल अल्लाह ही अल्लाह अल्लाह ही अल्लाह बोलो अल्लाह ही अल्लाह